Digital Turbine just hit its all-time high today of about $53.50. Now, this has been an amazing run from its March lows of this year of about $3.48. Now, if you bought it around the $3 to $4 range, you'd have over 10x your initial investment. So what's been driving this insane rally in apps? How much further can apps go? And is it still a buy today? Well, in today's episode, we will be breaking down Digital Turbine, ticker symbol apps, and what I'll be doing moving forward. Alright guys, so I'm not going to waste any more of your time. We are going to start diving into what Digital Turbine is and what some of their products are. So Digital Turbine simplifies content discovery and delivers it directly to the device. Its on-device media platform powers frictionless app and content discovery, user acquisition and engagement, operational efficiency, and monetization opportunities. Digital Turbine technology platform has been adopted by more than 40 mobile operators and OEMs, or original equipment manufacturers, and has delivered more than 3 billion app preloads for tens of thousands of advertising campaigns. They have a platform called On-Device Media Platform, which makes it easy for people to discover new apps and content, for operators and OEMs to boost their revenue, and for advertisers to reach users at scale. So we can see that the platform is hitting on 3 different fronts, from customers to advertisers and these operators and OEM or manufacturers. I believe it's a pretty interesting business model as they're hitting on 3 different revenue streams, and I only see the demand for a platform like this to continue to drive moving forward. And as we can see, phones have become so ingrained in our lives, and with this 5G wave and boom, I believe a product like this will only continue to be in demand as more and more people continue to use their phone and applications. So we can clearly see that they're a global company as they have over 40 partnerships, 4.2 billion apps delivered globally across all their devices, 500 plus million devices with their software, and 10 plus million for daily active users for their content media software. One key call out is that they have 70% of their top apps on Google Play Store work with them. So they already have pre-existing partnerships with Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, and they're working with the top apps across popular categories. So they're hitting on fronts from the OEMs and manufacturers, as well as the top apps and advertisers such as Alibaba, Twitter, and Amazon. So the platform product offering is very diverse as their products drive revenue from activation all the way and beyond. So they have increasing recurring revenue from everyday content and app engagement opportunities. So we can see it starts from the dynamic installs to notifications, single tap installs, all the way to the web portal and the home screen. So monetization starts from the very front as they have a next-gen smart factory preload. So what it is dynamic delivery installs on the phone before the phone is even given to the customer. So the user experience is totally seamless as icons appear in the app tray or home screen. And they're also hitting on the configuration and monetization front as well. They also have something called life of device products, where new product drive ongoing revenue streams. So we can see that the product hits on their home screen, the toolbar, and on the web portal as well. They also have attractive new products such as single tap installs. So instead of having to go to the app store, searching the app, having to install it, and type in all your passwords, what they're doing is making it a very seamless user experience and improving conversions by making it super easy for you to just hit once and for it to be downloaded on your phone. So now that we know what Digital Turbine is and what some of their product offerings are, we can dive into their financials a little bit. So this is a slide taken from their investor relations page. So these are some of the real-time updates and key developments that they're hitting on right now. They claim that they have strong financial results driven by rising demand from advertisers and broad revenue diversification. So in September, their quarterly revenue was about $71 million and their EBITDA was $16.5 million, which grew 116% and 265% respectively on a year-over-year basis. Additionally, the platform has been installed on more than 500 million devices globally, including more than 60 million devices added in the September quarter. Their RPD, or revenue per device, with US-based partners in the September quarter increased nearly 40% year on year. They also recently finished an acquisition of Mobile Posse back in February, which is a new content media revenue platform and helps with their life of device products. They currently have more than 100 million monetized daily active users and is actively in the process of extending the reach to additional carrier partners. So everything looks pretty good so far. It looks like they have a diversified product that's in demand as their revenue and earnings are growing at over 100%. One of the exciting things about this company is not only that they're growing very fast, but it's the industry that they're in. We can see that they have accelerating secular tailwinds in a surge in app usage and spending. So because of this pandemic this year, we've definitely seen a fast forward in 5G adoption in the US. This impact sends app downloads, usage, and customer spending to record highs in the second quarter. In this TechCrunch article, it shows that customers spent a record of $28 billion in apps in Q3, aided by this pandemic. This is really exciting to see, as I believe this will be a long-term impact that will continue to drive this industry and this business moving forward. So we can see that Digital Turbine is continuing to grow their install base. Their software has now been installed in more than 500 million total devices and installed in more than 600 million new devices worldwide during the just reported September quarter. So one of the key growth drivers is that the market share is expanding, but still less than 15% total global Android smartphone penetration today. They're also seeing really robust advertiser demand, along with the increased contribution from new products that drove nearly 40% year-on-year increase in the average revenue per device. So one of the great things I like to see about the revenue breakdown by product is that in fiscal year 2020 in Q2, they had about 82% of the revenue coming from dynamic installs. Now, in the fiscal year of 2021 in Q2, they're seeing only about 57% of dynamic installs and 43% of other products. So they're definitely diversifying their product revenue stream, and it's really good to see that they're not so reliant on these dynamic installs. Now for the revenue growth, they're seeing really strong revenue growth at about 116% year on year. It's grown at an overall compounded annual growth rate of greater than 58% over the past 4 fiscal years. So you love to see this chart. It's just a steady increase, and in the past 2 quarters, it's seen a dramatic increase boosted by this pandemic. So not only is their revenue growing rapidly, but the gross profit is as well. Their gross profit grew 140%, driving more than 200% annual growth in their earnings. You love to see this. How many companies do you know that have revenue growing at over 100% and EBITDA growing at over 200%? So this is an overview of their investment highlights. We can see that they have a highly scalable platform business model, uniquely positioned for high growth in an over $100 billion mobile advertising market. They have over 100% revenue growth and expanding profit margins. They powered over 4 billion app preloads. They have an increasingly diverse revenue mix, rapidly shifting to higher margin revenue streams. They have great partnerships with 40 plus long-term agreements with top-tier global partners, including Verizon, AT&T, Samsung, LG, and more. And they have an experienced management team, which you just love to see as well. So right now we're looking at a chart of the rapid and efficient growth. So we can see that the revenue, they had 116% year-on-year growth in fiscal year Q2. So it just seen a massive acceleration. And even before, they're seeing pretty steady growth, but with this addition of the pandemic and the acceleration of 5G, they're seeing massive growth. Their adjusted EBITDA also looks just as good, as well as their non-GAAP EPS. So some of the key drivers that will accelerate their platform in the future is new products, more devices, and stronger advertiser demand. So let's take a step back and actually look into the management team and see how the culture is at Digital Turbine. So going on Glassdoor, we can see that Digital Turbine has great reviews, 4.5 stars out of 5, 97% approve of their CEO, and 90% recommend to a friend. Management and culture is very important in a business and some of the driving factors for its success. You love to see a company that has great reviews and a great culture. So great. It looks like Digital Turbine has a very diversified platform, hitting on 3 different customers, and they're growing at a really rapid pace. Now, let's actually dive into the risk factor and talk about why this company might not be a good investment. Another fellow YouTuber, Vincent Chan, brought up some really good points of why he's not investing in Digital Turbine. I just want to break these down and address what I think about them. So the first one is, are people going to be okay with bloatware? So bloatware, in other words, is native app preloading, or applications, usually unwanted, that are preloaded onto the device. One of the key reasons people don't like bloatware is because it's known to slow devices. Now, in my opinion, it's a little subjective of what constitutes as bloatware. All bloatware is saying is that some of these preloaded apps are unwanted, non-negotiable, and intrusive. So take, for example, some of the Google apps. Don't like apps that are tied to Google services? The apps are bloatware. But if you love the apps that are tied to Google services, well, then you can say the apps are value-driven. So we can see why it's so subjective. If you love some of the apps that are pre-downloaded, then you're going to love it. But if you don't like the apps, then obviously you're not going to be a fan of it. It's been shown that having some of these preloaded apps drive higher conversions, better user experience, and it helps advertisers and OEMs to be able to continue to drive revenue for the platform. The second main factor that he brought up is that Digital Turbine is mainly focused on the Android market. He's saying that if you believe the Apple market will continue to grow, then this might not be a good investment. Now, for some of us that live in the US, it's really easy to think that Apple dominates the market share of smartphones. However, if we actually dive into some of the numbers of the market share for worldwide smartphone shipments, we can see Android in 2020 has about 85% of the market share, with iOS only about 15%. Digital Turbine has a monopoly in the Android smartphone market, and as we can see, it's the dominant player in the smartphone industry. The last point is that there's high dependencies on these manufacturers and OEMs. They might be able to come in and jack up the prices, which would easily cut into their profit margins. Some of these phone manufacturers might even come in and say that they don't want any of these apps preloaded on their devices anymore. Now, those are all fair points, and that's very true. There definitely is a risk of that. However, I believe it's mutually beneficial for both parties to continue to work together, and Digital Turbine, as they have such a monopoly in this market and already have so many different partnerships with other OEMs, I believe that Digital Turbine actually has the upper edge in these negotiations as they're the main player in this space. So we can see that Digital Turbine is currently trading about $52, and their market cap is about $4.6 billion. Taking a look at their statistics, we can see that their forward PE is about 54 and their price of sales is about 20. Now we can see right off the bat that this company is not cheap and is trading at a premium. But we have to remember the kind of revenue growth that this company is seeing, as well as the kind of industry that it's in, which is continuing to expand and continuing to grow. So looking at a chart right now, we can see from mid-October, apps has been trading in this ascending wedge, and it recently just broke out a few days ago and shot up to where it's currently trading at right now. I believe apps is a little extended, and if you do want to enter a position, you might want to wait for a little pullback before it starts taking off again. So now that we've run through all that, now let's talk about what I'm going to do. Well, for me, I've already been investing in apps from earlier this year, and I've already built a pretty sizable position in it. One thing that I've been doing with this company is I've been consistently adding more to it, and as we know, this company has been increasing over time, so I've been increasing my average cost basis up. You can see that I initiated a position early, and as I saw this continue to gain traction, I continued to add to my position. I'm definitely interested in continuing to do this. However, I do think it's a little bit extended, so I am waiting for a little bit of a pullback for me to continue adding to it. So to recap, Digital Turbine has a highly scalable platform business model that is uniquely positioned to take over this $100 billion advertising mobile market. They have very solid financials, as they're seeing over 100% growth in the revenue, as well as over 200% growth in their earnings. They have an increasingly diversified revenue mix, as they're seeing less from their pre-installed app downloads, and they're diversifying into other segments. They powered over 4 billion app preloads, and they have great partnerships with some of the top OEMs and networking companies. I believe Digital Turbine is a monopoly in this Android smartphone market, and as this market continues to grow, so will Digital Turbine. Well, thanks for sticking with me, guys. I hope this breakdown was really helpful. Now, if you guys could let me know what you guys think and what you guys are gonna do in the comment section down below. And if you guys can go ahead and smash that like button. These videos do take a lot of time, from researching to editing, so if you guys can do me a big favor and do that. And lastly, if you guys like this content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next video.